are like, oh, we brought you from Africa.
They never said
gonna
that.
steal our land.
No. But see, that's the thing.
Yeah.
They told us that we weren't African. That's why they called us black. So you can't say that they're saying both things. You can't say that they told us we weren't African and they told us we were African. So we're not African because they told us we were African. We reminded ourselves that we were African. Do you know about Sankofa? Do you know what that is?
I've heard that word before.
What?
I've heard that, but I don't. But I'm not familiar with the meaning. I didn't really do the research on that name.
Sankofa is not even a name. It's an oblique symbol from the Akan people of West Africa that enslaved people would put into their iron gates that they were forced to make during slavery. They would put a symbol, and you've seen this symbol before. It's called a Sankofa. It's a swirly symbol that you'll see on ironwork from here to Jamaica. And the reason they would put that there is because it was taboo for us to even claim to be Africans because we were told that we were just a color. We were black and Negro. You understand?
Yeah,
so,
wait a minute.
That's the thing that gets me when y'all come up saying that they told us we was from Africa because they didn't tell us we was from Africa. We reminded ourselves that we was from Africa.
No, wait a minute. Let's.
Peace and power to the descendants of my ancient mother. My name is Brother Legend, and I'm here to raise your consciousness. What's going on? What up, what up? If you're joining us on YouTube, my TikTok is BIGBROLGND. You can tap on the top right notification bell to know when I'm going live. Oh, excuse me. This is our third attempt at going live. Today I want to talk to Africans and the descendants of the diaspora. Are African Americans and Africans the same people? Just basically the continuation of a conversation that I saw on another brother's live. Earlier today I was in a live and we were talking about, are Africans and African Americans the same people? Are Africans and African Americans the same people? Lately, there's been a lot of confusion about that. So I'm just kind of wondering what the consensus is. Oh, my light keep going out. It's a touch light. But yeah, so no, easily because your environment makes up your socialization, communal and individual. So, if that's the case, right? Why do African Americans call sweet potatoes yams? Why do we call them yams? You said your environment makes it up, right? But we still call them yams, the same thing that they were called. Well, not that exact food, but why do we call them by the African food instead of calling them sweet potatoes? Why do we still speak in a similar way? Why do we still do that? Why is it that everything about African Americans can be traced back to either Africa or the people that took them from Africa, yet African Americans somehow are not from Africa, even though they will claim that they're from slavery, but slavery brought them here from Africa. But they are descendants of what brought them from Africa, but not descendants of Africa itself. That's like me taking the bus somewhere and saying I'm not from my house, I'm from the bus. You know what I'm saying? Like if you take the bus somewhere, if I took the bus to the mall from my house, that's like me getting to the mall and my friend is like, hey, where you coming from? Instead of saying I'm coming from home, I'm gonna tell them I'm coming from the bus. I just came from the bus. I'm not from home. Yeah, I'm from the bus stop. That don't make no sense. I'm a descendant of slavery? Really? Sure. Because last I checked, people are not descendants of an institution to oppress them. Last I checked, people are descendants of a land, right? You know, you've got Chinese people, you've got Korean people, you've got Indian people, you've got people from all over the place. For some reason, African Americans are the only ones that are told they're not descendants of any land, they're only the descendants of the bus that brought them here. Isn't that convenient? Who wants them to believe that? What makes us so different than other people? What makes us so different? That we don't get to claim a land. You know? Who else, could you give us your age, race, and pronouns, please?
Yeah, hi, Manuela. I'm 26 from Colombia. She, her.
What's
Um,
your race?
I'm sorry.
What's your race? Are you a white Colombian? Are you a black Colombian?
I'm a white Latina.
Alright, so you white. Go ahead, talk to us.
Yeah. Okay. So exactly, like that's entirely my point. Of course, like I agree with what you're saying. Of course, talking about like a heritage not being your land, but besides like whatever other statements of socially encounters happened to the black population in general being brought to the Americas. But to say that black Africans and black Americans are the same people now today, where are we talking genetically? Are we talking culturally? Because if we're talking culturally, most likely the answer is no. The experience of your lived environment make up for what you are, for your cultural heritage. So, for example, even though I'm a white Latina, I cannot relate or have the same experience for a white person in Germany or the Netherlands. I'm still going to be affected by my Latino environment. So, in that same way, that's like where my question comes from, because we're talking genetically, of course,
Alright,
especially
I'm
with
about to cut you
segregation in the
off.
US.
Calm down, hold on. Alright. First of all, you are acting in the same tradition of your ancestors as telling African Americans that they're not African. This is not a new argument. This is not a new thing. They were telling them that as soon as they got off the boats from being brought here from Africa by your ancestors and put onto American soil. As soon as they landed here, they were told that they weren't African, and they were told to denounce the names that their ancestors had given them and call themselves Toby, if you know about roots. But I think this is a conversation where yo ass shouldn't have come up here talking about this, because you are part of the reason why African Americans and Africans are in America in the first place. So who the hell are you to tell them that they're not African, because your ancestors are the ones that told them they wasn't African then? Do you see how you sound like someone that owned slaves hundreds of years ago?
Okay, so first of all, let's start with the point of that I've never said that you were not African. I've never said that. I just said that when you say that African Americans and African people that are born and raised in Africa are the same people, well, yes, by race, genetically, if you take a DNA test,
Race
especially
genetically,
with
if you take a
segregation,
DNA
what you're gonna have
test,
is, well, of course, a genetic test that shows that you are African. You're not uh, exactly what like the people that colonized this continent said.
But why are
You are, but
you
that doesn't mean
talking?
that you're gonna share the
Why are
experience.
you bringing this message? Yo ass shouldn't be talking at all.
But that's the problem. That's
You
the thing.
Hey,
shouldn't
brother,
be
can
up
I
here
comment on
talking.
this real quick?
Please,
Can I
Cece.
comment? Hi, so this is an issue within the Hispanic community when white Latinos try to tell other people what they are and what they're not. This is a huge problem. This is a Pan-African live. Why are you bringing this into a space that has nothing to do with you?
if you don't want people that are not black talking into this panel, then why are you bringing people up that are not
This is his
clarifying
life.
their race?
This is a
Well,
black
yeah, that's it.
space.
Well, exactly. Well, yeah, then why am I up here? If I
Why
said
are
my
you up here?
That's
race,
what we're all
if I
wondering.
said if I
That's
said
the
my
$1,000,000
race,
question. Why the hell
I literally
would you
said my
come up
race,
here?
and you still let
If
me
I
speak.
saw Indian live asking, are Indian Americans and Indians the same people? You know what I would do? I would scroll on by. It ain't got nothing to do with me.
You're not
I
asking.
would have
You're not
no. I would
asking
have
about people.
no
I never
opinion.
said.
What
You
made
never on
you
your life said
bring
I'm only
your
talking to people of
Lily
color.
ass up on this live? That puzzles me. But it really don't, because it's just you continuing what your ancestors told us in the first place, that we was not African. So it don't make no sense.
Oh my God! To say that you have the same cultural experience as an African person is just, it's just insane. It's just not possible.
I am black and indigenous. So what is your excuse for that? I am from Mexico and America, and I'm black. So what are your excuses? Because this is an issue we run to in Mexico too, and in America,
So
where white
are you gonna
Latinos
say?
tell people of color that they're not authentic. So
I've
what's your
never
excuse
said
now?
that.
You just
That's the thing,
did.
that I never
You
said
just
that.
did.
No. What I'm telling you is that you cannot equate the experiences of any person if they're based on a
Manu,
different geographical lens.
Manu,
Like,
There
it is
are
not
there are
Manu.
black
possible.
people
Time out.
everywhere.
Yes,
Manu,
there
time out.
are,
Time
and
out.
they
Time
are
out.
all
Listen.
going to experience different social
Listen.
experiences
No
because they
amount,
are living
no
in different
amount,
places.
Manu, no amount of systemic oppression, no amount of violence inflicted by YT supremacy, no amount of the systemic oppression of black people by YT supremacist constructs over the last 400 or 500 years just magically makes the people who have been facing those systemic oppressive forms of atrocities, that doesn't magically make them less African. You can't just take a people group, snatch them off of a continent, put them into another space, and then inflict a whole bunch of violence on them and like, oh, magically they're no longer the same people group. Like, no, that's not how it
No,
To
works.
be
You
yeah,
don't
honest,
no,
magically
Timothy,
change
to
your
be
race.
honest, I don't even want to
exactly.
argue her logic, because the problem with what's being said right now is who it's coming from. She is
Right.
literally continuing the tradition of telling African Americans that they are not African, after her ancestors is the ones that brought us here and now told us that we wasn't African, which is the reason I have to put this question up in the first place. So the
Right.
reason for the disconnection of African Americans from the continent is because people like her brought us to the Americas and told us we wasn't African no more. Because if we continued to be African, we would be upset about what her people has done on the continent of Africa. We would have unity and we would have resources to back our unity and have black power. She don't want that. So what she would rather do is come up here and have input in a conversation that she has no business talking about.
Of course, yes, of course, that's what I want. Of course, I would want African liberation. Of course, I would want Europe to answer for what the resources they stole on a daily basis. I never said I was not for that. The way that
No, you
you
don't.
assume, yes, no, well, yes, you
You're
are
No,
doing
you
the
assuming
don't.
same thing
No.
the
exactly what I would
colonizers did,
think
which
as an
is speak
individual and as a
for your
person,
ancestors.
just because
Forcing
I'm
your opinion into a black space and thinking that that's going to promote black liberation as a YT individual. That's weird.
no, the fact that you can't tell that lived experiences are geographical as well
They're
as
all the
social
same
Your
and
people.
racial,
experiences
it's
don't change
literally
who you
Saying that
are.
nonsensical.
because
Your
I've
experiences
never
don't
set foot
change
in
your
Africa
heritage.
that I'm not black. That's
Your
what you're
All
saying.
experiences do
Africans
not
and
change your
everyone's the same
heritage.
people.
Your experiences do not change your heritage. What experience do you have to go to not be a Yankee anymore? Because you know what I'm saying. You're horchata con leche. So what experience do you need to go through in order to not be horchata con leche anymore? If you eat Chinese food, are you now Asian? I'm confused. If you move to Japan and start watching anime, are we gonna start calling you Asian now? Because you have a different experience than most other horchata con leche people. So
You see, when you say things like that, when you say horchata, knowing exactly that I said that I'm Colombian, you only tell me that you only know Mexico down, that you have no
Is that
idea.
not a
No,
Hispanic thing that we have in our
No,
cultures here?
no, horchata is a fully Central American thing.
No, it's
That's
not. It's
exactly what you
actually
do.
from Africa. It's
Oh,
actually from
oh, that
Africa.
is so cool. Then why are you calling me a hortacha con leche? Because
Because
you said
Hispanic people
no,
have that as part of their culture as
Hispanic
well.
people are not a monolith. Hispanic people do not all like spice and drink horchata.
You
A Colombian regular person will not be able to tell
okay?
you
All right,
what
all right,
Oh
all
horchata.
my
right, all right.
goodness.
I think she missed the point. I'm speaking more to the hue of horchata and not the actual food. Arroz con leche, is that better for you? You know what I'm saying? I don't know the Spanish word for thin lips, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Bebos. Oh no, that's a kiss, right? Bebos is kiss. I'm trying to say, you know what I'm saying? Like pointy noses. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the actual food. Blanquita. I don't speak Spanish. Okay, yes, I know Maya. Y'all funny. What's the Spanish word for snow? What's the Spanish word for snow, y'all?
It's nieve. Nieve.
All right, so yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, yes. We actually get called also like fresas for Mexico. And I totally agree with those statements. Like you can totally call out our whiteness and our privilege within Latin communities. But then to tell me, a Colombian, that I'm horchata white, you're just calling me Mexican because all Hispanics are Mexicans
That's a
to people
nationality.
in the US
That's a
because it's
nationality.
crazy. So yeah,
No,
you
no,
know
that's
I'm
not
right.
true.
You know I'm right.
That's
You
not
know
true. I'm not from the U.S. I'm from New Jersey and New York. All right. I grew up around Colombians. I grew up around Dominicans. I grew up around Haitians. I grew up around Venezuelans and Puerto Ricans. I'm not from where there's a lot of Mexicans. Where I'm from, Mexico is very far away. So I call you that because of the color. Again, you said that you were white. What color is horchata? Please stop focusing on the trivial aspect of what I'm saying and
no,
understand
you are
what
the
I'm
one that
trying to say.
focused on the trivial fact that I said. I literally said that I am for all calling whiteness within the Latin community, that I have no issue exposing my privilege as a white person in living in Latin America and just overall in the world. But I do think that excluding the experiences of your geographically lived experience here right now.
All right, yeah, I'm tired of her. Let's go to the next guest. So good. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
29. Wait, pronouns. She, race, white. I would say white. Okay, are Africans and African Americans the same people? Can I just understand the question a bit more?
No.
But what do you mean by the same people?
No questions from you. You can answer the question.
The same people.
Do you not speak English? Is this new to you?
I could speak English.
Okay. All right. So sound it out. Are Africans and Africans Americans it's a long A, not Sam, same, because see the E at the end? So that makes it a long A sound. Same people. Are Africans and African Americans the same people? I never thought I would have to teach a frosted female English. Wow.
So you mean the same people genetically? What do you mean? You're just sounding out words. You're not explaining what you mean.
You keep asking questions? But if you had questions, you could have stayed your ass in the comments. See how that works? You could have not came up here and
You
still
weren't
had a question.
answering.
No, I'm asking you the questions. This is what
No, because you weren't answering in the comments.
I'm asking the questions here. You could have stayed your snowy lily ass in the comments and not come up here instead of coming up here to ask me questions.
But I just wanted to know.
Imagine that. Imagine that.
Yeah.
What a world that would be.
So anyway, let's just start again. Are Africans and African Americans the same people? So, in the absence of you helping me understand the question, I'm going to just try and I would say the same.
In a conversation between Africans and the diaspora, when they come up here to try to police our conversation, they're acting in their overseer energy. You know what I'm saying? They come up here to try to talk about a subject. They don't know what the hell they talking about. All they know is we talking amongst ourselves, and they have to give their opinion and tell us what's what. That's all that is. So the part of the reason y'all have never seen me put this prompt up is because I knew that they were watching, and I'm going to avoid this becoming a problematic conversation over and over and over again. If anybody in the thin lip community wants to come up here, you can. You can, because I know y'all are here. But when you come up here, the conversation is probably going to get problematic. You're going to get dropped back down. So come and make an ass of yourself. Feel welcome. But this conversation is for people that are African or African American that want to come up here and talk about our heritage. Can you imagine going through a live about, let's say you're not, Pakistani, or, like something Pakistani, or Pakistani people and Indian people, the same people, black people in the audience. Would you jump on that live and have an opinion and something to talk about, and you don't know nothing about them two cultures? You don't know nothing what you're talking about, but you're going to go up there? Like, can you imagine that amount of entitlement to feel like you just going to come up there and talk about it? So we're not going to have this term problematic, but we can talk amongst ourselves. We can have an open, honest dialogue, but I'm not going to let this become a problematic live. We're not doing that.
Bro, I actually saw a.
You are problematic, you bitch. You act like a bitch.
Look at us, 2% Neanderthal that can't control his comments.
Strong. The overseer energy is strong. Wow. The overseers are here, y'all. Look at that. Hey, man. Everybody that never had pumpkin pie in their life, tap like, tap like, tap like. You know what I'm saying? If you look in the mirror and you see a daughter or son of Africa, tap like, tap like, tap like. You know what I'm saying? Brothers and sisters, you know who you are. Melanated people across the world, tap like one time for me. We trying to have our own conversation. It keeps getting hijacked. Peace, Sister Lorena. Give us your age. Well, you don't have to introduce yourself if you don't want to.
I'm 33.
All right. Talk to us, sister.
What bothers me about this topic is that, like, there was once just one continent, Pangea. And I'm sure there was blacks on that continent. And then it spread apart. I'm sure there was blacks on every continent. So why do we all believe that we come from one continent? And I mean, if it's one continent, it would be Pangea, not Africa.
All right. So the earliest found remains of the earliest Homo sapiens goes back 300,000 years. Some say 320, some say as little as 230,000 years. That's a long time. That's millennia, right?
The farther you go back, you find that there was one continent on this planet.
I'm getting to that. Hold on,
So
sister.
that one continent was in Africa. It was Pangea.
Hold on, sister. So when it comes to Pangea as a theory, right? Because theories are not the same thing as hypothesis.
So you map it's not a theory, it's science. You map it out. You look at the,
Lorena, sister, you're not going to keep interrupting me. Calm down. All right, so when you talk about a theory, that means it has proof. A hypothesis means it doesn't have proof, right? So Pangea is a theory, meaning it's funny because she just got a temper. I don't know what's up with that. I didn't drop her just now, y'all. She left. I was actually about to agree with her that there is proof to the Pangea theory. I wasn't even saying she was wrong. But some of us get the timeline mixed up because we're trying to fit our own narrative. No anthropologists, archaeologists will agree with what she just said, that humans were living on Pangea. Pangea happened at least 6 million years ago. And we can tell that by the movement of the tectonic plates and how long they take to shift. We could tell that by digging in the ground with paleontology. We can tell that by, I didn't kick her, Zoe, 1804. She kicked herself. So I know she was calm. I was calm too. I don't know why she ran. But Pangea was 6 million years ago. There were no human beings 6 million years ago on Pangea. So I need y'all to pay attention in geography, archaeology, and anthropology class, and stop just fitting narratives how you want to fit them, because y'all are mixing up the timeline. 6 million years ago, no humans existed. That was when Pangea was around. After the continent split up 300,000 years ago, we got the earliest remains of human beings. There's a big gap. That's 5.7 million years between Pangea and the earliest known humans in Africa. So let's pay attention before we come up here with some nonsense. All right. Kit Kat, give us your age, race, and pronouns. Sister, you here?
Yeah, Kit Kat's a mutual. She's a thumbs up. But yeah, I'll let her go ahead.
Oh, hey, y'all. I'm sorry. Every time I get up here, my alarms start going off. Okay. Um, wait, why can't I remember? I'm 34. I'm black, and she, her pronouns. My name is Kat. I just be wanting to participate. But yes, Africans and African Americans are the same people. I don't really want to get in the middle too much of the education part because I can't with that. However, I'm not trying to say that all. Oh, thanks for that. I'm not trying to say that all African Americans descend from like slaves and stuff, because I really don't have the facts like you guys do, but I do know that I was able to trace my ancestry, okay, back to the continent, and excuse me. So that's just one example for people who use that. But aside from that, okay, wait.
Okay.
I'm so sorry, please, but I'm having a little cough attack. Just leave it to yes, okay? I'm a silent disrupting now.
That's good enough for me. That's better than anything else we had today. All right. So that was the first, even if she didn't understand enough about it, she landed in the right place. African and African Americans have a shared land history and culture going back thousands of years. Although we are, as African Americans, the Western expression of African culture, we ourselves are not an entirely different people. We're the same people brought up by the West. So, and a lot of people try to say, we've been here 400 years. In most cases, that is cap. The slave trade really didn't start booming until the late 18th century. So that was much later. That puts us at about maybe 200 between 250 and 300 years. And then on top of that, around that same time, well, a little bit later than that, the 19th century brought over a lot of Chinese immigrants to work on railroads in America. None of those Chinese, when you meet them in San Francisco, Los Angeles, wherever they at, none of them say, "I'm not Chinese, I'm American." What are you talking about? I'm not Chinese at all. No, I'm the descendant of the Chinese railroad people that came here, the railroad workers. I'm not Chinese. I'm a descendant of the railroad. Like, you don't see this with any other group because it wasn't intentionally indoctrinated to any other group other than African Americans, who have been told time and time again that they are not African. Why would you tell someone that? Because it behooves you as someone to rob. If I were to rob your mother, and you as her child would be defensive of your mother, I would benefit from telling you, this ain't your mother. This ain't your mother. What are you trying to defend her? No, this ain't your mother. You're adopted. Your mother is someone else. As I continue to rob your mother, you have no allegiance to helping her. So that is something that we need as African Americans to wrap our minds around, that Africa needs our help, and we continue to act like we are different people. Host, are you open to Q&A? If you come up here and you have questions, possibly, depends on what those questions are, because I know this is more of an open discussion. I only got one question up here. Cece, did you want to say anything else? I don't think I gave you really a chance to speak for yourself. Just a rebuttal.
Yeah, I mean, that I feel like that situation was just not appropriate, but it's a good example of how the diaspora wars are affecting our people, but in the Hispanic community as well. But and then just coming into your live and trying to take it over and make it about her and how she felt about it after exclaiming her proximity to whiteness, it just did not sit with me well. So I believe that we, Africans and African Americans are the same people, but it benefits non-Black people to say that we're not. So that's my take on it.
Absolutely. That's part of the earliest forms of oppression against African or Black people was telling us that we are not African anymore. And then also, we've got telling us that African people are poor, lazy, less civilized, calling their communities tribes, calling their artwork primitive, saying that they don't have education, or they're illiterate, all of these things to get us to look at African people as also inferior to us because of our proximity to our oppressor, that we are somehow greater than them. That way, we also reject our African brothers and sisters because it makes us feel closer to our oppressor and not the oppressed. It makes us feel more like, we're not like them, Master. We're different than them. We're smarter than them. We like you. We speak your English. We dance good for you. We sing good for you. We make you lots of money, Master. You know what I'm saying? That's how that sounds. But yeah. I mean, that's one thing, African American people, we did create the blueprint for a lot of things in entertainment and culture. Our culture is a Western expression of African culture, though. We ourselves didn't create anything on our own. We did what Africans have done. Is a Western expression. Boss lady, please, you have to mute yourself.
She said me things that fucking did shit properly. It's
Oh my
because she
God.
fucking.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened right there. I don't know what that was. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't think she even meant to come up here. I don't know what was going on. We as African Americans do what Africans did, and we take whatever is given to us, whatever tools are at our disposal, and created our own culture. That is something Africans have done for thousands of years. That is nothing new. We took our oppression and made hip hop. We took our oppression and we took our instruments made by Europeans and made jazz, the blues, rock, country. Like we took their Dutch people actually. Dutch people actually made chicken. Fried chicken is a Dutch cuisine. However, they didn't season it. Believe it or not, they didn't season it. They would just put flour on chicken and fry it in a an iron pan, a cast iron skillet. Put it in the oven. That's what they would do. So they didn't season that shit. Seasoned fried chicken is African American. We was like, hey, this ain't right. I can't imagine chicken without no seasoning. That's wild as hell. So we take what we did not choose to have around us, and then we take that and we make it palatable to us. We put our Africanness in whatever's given to us. So that's African American culture for you. ATOC or ATOC, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please. ATOC. You here? You're muted. We can't hear you. You're muted. Yo. Oh, there he is. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Okay, so I'm 54 years old. I'm a black Jamaican American, and I live in Michigan.
All right, talk to us.
And I acknowledge, our people, that we're all black people. We're all, black. I think that at the end of the day, at some point, if history is correct, I believe that either Africa is the motherland or the Americas is the motherland. That's what I think, that we have to figure that out. We have to really, for ourselves though, not based on what the oppressors told us in the history books. I think that we have to step back as a people and really find out the truth for ourselves, and then come to a conclusion instead of just grabbing on to what they told us. And the reason why I think that is because I believe that they might have told us what they told us so they could steal this land from us. If this land was our land, if the Americas was ours, and the Americas include North America, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean islands, right? That's the Americas, all right? If indeed the Americas made Europe vastly wealthy, I'm not going to say Africa didn't contribute as well, but I believe between Africa and the Americas, Europe became exceedingly wealthy. All the European countries milked Africa, and they milked the Americas, for gold and whatever else they could get out of here and over there also, right? So I believe as a people, we should not just say, okay, let's go along with what the history books say. And the reason why I say that, because there would be a motive for them to tell us that we brought you from Africa.
They never said that. No. But see, that's the thing. Yeah. They told us that we weren't African. That's why they called us black. So you can't say that they're saying both things. You can't say that they told us we weren't African and they told us we were African. So we're not African because they told us we were African. We reminded ourselves that we were African. Do you know about Sankofa? Do you know what that is?
I've heard that word before.
What?
I've heard that, but I don't. But I'm not familiar with the meaning. I didn't really do the research on that name.
Sankofa is not even a name. It's a Adinkra symbol from the Akan people of West Africa that enslaved people would put into their iron gates that they were forced to make during slavery. they would put a symbol, and you've seen
Okay.
this symbol before. It's called a sankofa. It's a swirly symbol that you'll see on ironwork from here to Jamaica. And the reason they would put that there is because it was taboo for us to even claim to be Africans, because we were told that we were just a color. We were black and Negro. You understand?
Yeah,
So
and so wait a minute,
so
wait a minute.
that's the thing that gets me when y'all come up saying that they told us we was from Africa, because they didn't tell us we was from Africa. We reminded ourselves that we was from Africa.
No, wait a minute. Let me say this right here, okay? I'm not saying that you're incorrect, sir. What I'm saying is that what if we were intelligent enough? Wait a minute, as a people, to be able to travel before the Europeans even came to the New World or to the Americas.
That's not
And
how
we're
most of us
able, wait a
got here,
minute,
though.
and we're
That's
able
not
to
how
build a
most of
ship
us got here, though.
and travel
Even if that's true,
all
that's
over.
not how most of us got here, and that's you
Okay,
trying to
wait a minute.
focus on an
Wait a minute. Wait a
outlier.
minute. Wait a minute. Let me. Okay. What about the account of the brother of Mansa Musa? Because Mansa Musa came to power because his brother left the kingdom.
Yes, historically there absolutely is evidence that ancient
Yeah.
Africans circumnavigated the globe because
Yeah.
our ancestors were brilliant mathematicians. They knew the
Absolutely.
globe was round. But
Absolutely.
hold up, Atok, hold up. But is that evidence that we are indigenous to the Americas? Meaning, do we originate from the Americas? No, that's not. That just literally means that our ancient African ancestors were so intelligent that they circumnavigated the globe. Some of them may have chosen to stay in those spaces, but that does not make them indigenous, like being
I
of
am prone
origin, originating from those spaces.
And when they
to
got
adapt to that
here, even when the people
to
that
that
you're
theory
talking
right there.
about, even when the people that you're talking about got here, they still kept their African ways, their African cultures. If you want to listen to Ivan Van Sertima, if you want to listen to what he says about the Olmec people, the Amaru, the people of South Africa, the Incans, the ancient civilizations. If you want to listen to that, then you can. If you want to dive deep into that, you can. But even then, they had African expressions in their culture, and that was his thesis in that book. So at the same time, even if you believe what you're saying, that still shows we're the same people. But the thing is, that's not how most of us got here. That's not how most of us got here. You know how I know that? Because linguistically, we still have ties to the western coast of Africa. The people that Ivan Van Sertima said came to the Americas would be Eastern African. So then how come so many of us still speak with the habitual be? We don't use a plural form of is. Why is it that we still call sweet potatoes yams like West African people, but we're from East Africa and we came here thousands of years before Columbus? That makes no sense. And then on top of that, the people that you're talking about, Mansa Musa's predecessor, I forget his name, but Mansa Musa's brother came not hundreds of years before Columbus, but only a few decades. So even then, it's like we're stretching the truth, and we're doing the convenient thing in working around rationalizing what was done to us, a great atrocity, a great trauma of slavery, and we're trying to find a way to not acknowledge that pain. Abu Bakari, that's right, that was his name. We're trying to find a way to not acknowledge slavery and try to say we were never slaves in the first place. And that is when we get into a denial of our own oppression, which is what Europeans want. They want you to say that we were never enslaved. They feel guilty about they don't feel guilty, but they don't want us to acknowledge what they have done. They want to tell you that how they mistreated you for hundreds of years is a lie, and they want you to say it was a lie because they've already done it to you and they still continue to do it to you. And it's just wild to me how many. You'll never find a Jewish person that says the Holocaust didn't happen. And I'm not going to repeat that because we're on TikTok, but you're not going to find that. But you will find black people all up and down TikTok that say slavery never happened. It baffles me what y'all get from that other than denying your roots to Africa. Because you know that in the West, it has never been beneficial for a black person to claim a proximity to Africa. It's a cult, Duchess Jade. That's absolutely correct. It's a cult. It's a sick mindset.
My brother, may I say one more thing to you? I want to present to you that I don't believe that slavery never existed. I know it existed. It's a fact. But the evidence of them carrying us from Africa is very, 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 like, damning. It's like there's the evidence of it. I've looked for the evidence. The evidence is so damning. The ships. What ships did they have in those days that could really do what they said that they did?
King,
The layout of the ships.
range of
On
vessels.
and on
King,
and on.
they had a wide range of vessels. They literally had vessels that would be equivalent to the size of like almost 3, 4, 5-story buildings. They used to create these vessels specifically for the purpose of increasing the storage capacity so that they could put more enslaved ancestors at the bottom of those vessels, and so that they could harbor more crew, and also so they could, essentially create more spaces for them to be able to take more resources from other places. We know this because we have literal, actual diagraphic, like drawings of, or diagrams of those ships. And also we even have leftover remains of those ships. They have found multiple archaeological sites where they have found the remnants of those ships left over. And because they were all made of wood, and when you sink wood gets deteriorated faster than really any other material, unless the conditions are right.
Okay.
Like, so
Okay.
that,
So
of all of that. And also, if you
In
look, hold
order,
up 1 second, King, hold on. If you look into the museum, the African American Museum in Washington, D.C., they also do have, quite literally, the preserved remains of a enslavement ship that they have stored in the very bottom of, like, the very bottom of that museum. So they do
okay.
have the evidence, and they are finding shackles. They're finding cotton shipments in these archaeological sites. They're finding burnt ships off the coasts of these spaces, and they're still finding the remnants of slave ports that literally harbored these ships. Like, there's an endless cascade of evidence that shows that these actually did happen. The real documents that date
Yes.
back to the time periods, and also you can even tie in those documents to real family lineages that have used slave money to accumulate their wealth into the people that they are today.
Okay. I want to just say one more thing, and I'm gonna get off here, you gentlemen, because I don't want to hawk your program over. Respect and honor to you guys for even being able to discuss this whole thing. But again, like I said, okay, and some of those theories, like, for example, I definitely concur what you're saying about the ships that have been discovered today, right? But the thing that I look at is the amount of people that were said to be brought here. I think it was said at least 3 million people were brought over on
no,
slave ships.
more.
Is that what the books are saying? 4 million? Okay, that makes it even
More.
more of that makes it even more of a
20.
20 million?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Millions of
Oh
which
wow,
didn't
that
even
makes it even
survive.
more.
Millions of which
Okay.
didn't even survive the journey, King.
Okay, wait
Millions
a
of
minute.
which didn't
Wait a
even
minute.
survive the journey.
Wait a minute, sir. Wait a minute, sir. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
20 million people were brought here from Africa in slave ships.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not saying they did not bring people from Africa in slave ships. They might have brought people, especially to Europe. But the number that they're claiming to have brought over, to me, is utterly impossible.
King,
And
it's
let me,
not. But
no,
hold on,
sorry,
King,
wait a
King,
minute.
wait.
Let me
It's
speak.
important.
Let me
It's
speak before
important.
you, sir. Wait a minute. I let you
All
speak.
right,
So
all
let me
right,
speak.
Atok. All right, go
What
ahead.
makes
Go ahead.
you
You
the
I'll let
interrupt.
what
you finish.
makes you the judge on what's possible and what's not in
Because
the face of empirical evidence? Like
because
when there's an alarming amount of evidence, what makes you the it all and be all of what
no,
is
no, no, sir.
possible and what is not?
No, sir. You know what? I'm not going by me being it all. And this is my research. I don't have the thing with this right now. I'm on the road, and I can't really refer to the documentation that I have gathered. You know what I mean? In my computer or in different places at home, in my home office. But I have research that I believe shows that it was totally impossible for them to bring that many people here. And what I believe happened, what I think and what I'm believing that happened is that they used ships to cross my.
All right, I'm done. I'm done. Whew, that was a lot, y'all. Listen, I study too much to sit up here and listen to somebody perpetuate their own oppression.
I
And
just,
yeah.
Like
sorry. I
when
just
you
wanted to
have
know if he answered the question.
he
That's
definitely
all.
didn't. He just jumped around because like the issue is that he wants to think that things like that aren't possible, but then when you look at the numbers and you take the fact that there are literally over 30,000 documented voyages that took place between 1444 all the way up to 1866, and you actually take that into account, and there's even vessels that we don't know about that illegally were shipping things back and forth.
Yeah.
Things, meaning that's how they classified it, things, but it was our people. So, like, it's important to recognize that when you have 4 to 500 to 600 to, in some cases, even 700, and I think the slavevoyages.com had some vessels clocked in at like 1,000 enslaved people, like being forcibly put into the bottom of these ships.
Yeah.
And you're thinking that they collectively pushed them all together so that way they could fit that many people in the bottom of a ship. And you think that they did, like, okay, if we count that and multiply that per voyage times over 30,000 voyages, you get exactly the numbers that we are talking about. Like, but unfortunately, people don't know that there were that many documented voyages. They literally have real documented evidence of the names of the voyages, the people that benefited from them, the insurance companies that profited off of those shipments coming in,
Liberty
and
Mutual.
yeah, exactly. New York Life Insurance literally got its start by insuring enslaved people. Like there's been multiple, like I remember
Chase
that
Bank.
Chase Bank, exactly. There has been multiple institutions that have documented recorded evidence that has literally been found to date back to those time periods where you can clearly see a paper trail of how people were profiting off of the enslavement of African people.
I have a question really quick, Timothy. Please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm still reading. Is when you said like they were transporting things, is that where they said that they're like bringing rum and different goods and stuff over there? Is that what you mean? And then like on their way back, they would just keep bringing slaves?
Oh, I mean,
Is that what you're
they would
talking
bring in
about? Or no?
they would bring enslaved people across every part of that voyage because like the thing is Eliado Equiano gave his firsthand account of what it was like being enslaved to Europeans, and his experience on a slave ship, and he also ultimately became enslaved to a ship captain, and he gave a detailed account of his activities with this ship captain. They would go from port to port to port, transporting goods and all these different things back and forth. And that was literally his entire life, was just watching this YT captain doing that. And that was the captain's whole life. Just you just travel, just port to port to port. Of course, you stayed in port for maybe a week or two, or depending on what it was that you were trying to get. But yeah, there's a lot that was shipped back and forth. That's how they think that okra, which is indigenous to Africa, made its way over to the Americas, because that couldn't have happened unless there was so much of a shipment of okra being taken from the African continent and sent over to the Americas. And of course, they also think that that there may have been seeds that were traveling in the hair of our ancestors that made its way through that journey as well, that could have cultivated in the Americas.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate to think, but I wonder if some of those, because the average lifespan of a slave in Haiti was 5 years after they landed on the shores of Haiti. And as you can imagine, the bodies start to pile up. If you got seeds in your hair and you bury the bodies in unmarked graves, you get plants. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So we, for some reason, believe that the slave ships are fake, but JP Morgan, Liberty Mutual, Wells Fargo, and so on understand that the profit is real. Their bank accounts are very real. These companies have been around for hundreds of years. You know what I'm saying? Like, for hundreds of years, making good money. Top corporations. And so they've convinced us now, the people whose bodies created their wealth, we now believe slavery ain't real, man. Man, listen, man, we from America. They trying to take America away from us. What? Yo, that's wild, man. It's just wild, man. Like, I feel bad, honestly. Sometimes I feel bad for those indigenous, Asiatic Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? Those indigenous uh, Cherokee and all the, not just the 5 civilized tribes, but just the people of this land that were here pre-colonization and even dated back to the Incans, all of them. I feel bad for y'all sometimes because the way that we trying to bend over backwards to claim anything but Africa in the face of empirical evidence is alarming, and it's a shame because why would you want to be anywhere else but Africa? Like, why? I, I don't know. Africa's not enough for them. It's really sad. Let's go to the next guest. Amira, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Hi, my name's Amira. I am 33 years old. I'm a female. I don't do the pronoun things, but I just want to answer the question
What's your
because,
race?
oh, I'm African Caribbean.
Okay, talk
Is
to
that
us.
all right? Yeah. No, because I keep on seeing this, and I always find that Americans think that they're not the same as Africa, and there's this ADOS, and I can't remember the other one, but I
FBA.
think that is that it? Okay, but I think everyone needs to like really understand. I don't know if you know about the Berlin Conference of 1884 where like Europe, like Germany, England,
Yeah.
Spain, everyone. Yeah, so you know that, yeah. So we're actually all one people, and obviously race is a social construct. It was literally created by Samuel Morton, that's aka the godfather of race. Like, and I think many people don't actually understand that, you know, the Eve gene, mitochondria Eve, only black women have this. And even if we go like biblical, whatever, God created Adam from soil, and soil isn't white. So like this hatred that the majority of black people, whether they're like from the Caribbean or Africa, it's a bit weird to me, and it kind of takes me back to like the concept of menticide, which is basically the systematic destruction of a person's mind, which they used in other things such as the Holocaust. And I feel like black people suffer from that today, and I hate even saying black because we're not actually black, we're brown. You know what I mean? But I just really wanted to ask you, because obviously you guys, the majority of you are American, like why do you guys think that you're not the same? Like what is this hate towards Africa? Like they tried to make us believe that Africa is poor and it's this, but Africa is still being looted until this day. You know what I mean? So I don't understand. Like, could someone tell me why
All right.
Americans? Because
So
it's everywhere. It's annoying.
what's going on in America right now is
Mm.
the numbers of thin Libyans is going down. You know what I'm saying? Their birth rate is declining, and they feel like what they call the browning of America is happening. That's what they call it themselves, the browning of America. So, which is a wild name, but okay. Yeah, they think basically that they're going to be replaced. And the reason that's wild is because whenever they feel like their numbers are dwindling, they start to open up the doors of whiteness to include previously considered non-white people into their group. They did this with the Italians, the Irish, so much and so forth. Now we're starting to see them include more Asian people into their political aspirations. So we'll see how that works out for them. They did this with Middle Eastern people a while back. There was a trial where a man from Palestine, or what was called, it wasn't Palestine then, it's called Palestine now, appeared before the court because he wanted to be considered white. And he told the judge he wanted to be considered white in the census. And he told the judge that if you call me a Mongoloid, which is an Asian person, if you say that I am Asian, then you're saying Jesus is Asian. Basically, with that sentiment, the judge ruled in his favor that he was considered a white man because they didn't want to say that Jesus was Asian. So that's what happened in America. That's America's history of whenever whiteness starts to dwindle, they start to open up the definitions. In that same vein, they view black people as a threat inherently, right? So we're inherently a threat to whiteness. So it gives black people a choice during these times when they're very paranoid about us becoming a threat, that we can either continue to be considered a threat or we can give in to what they would want us to be, right? So right now, what they're using for black people in America is reparations. If you want reparations, bark like a dog. You know, show me that you're willing to pledge your allegiance to the flag. And that's why you see ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery. American Descendants of Slavery. Think about that name. When I saw the word ADOS, I'm an African American. Me and my wife saw the word ADOS. You know what we thought ADOS meant? African Descendants of Slavery. It's American Descendants of Slavery. Why? Because they don't want nothing to do with Africa. Because the term ADOS is meant to separate African Americans from other people in the diaspora in order for us to get the crumbs from Master's table and not anyone else. We don't want y'all coming taking our crumbs from Master's table. He ain't giving us a seat, but we don't want y'all to eat up our crumbs. Pledging your allegiance to the plantation makes Master feel more comfortable. It makes Master think that we can actually get along with him in his system that he's already put in front of us. FBA, what does that mean? Foundational Black American, not foundational Black African. Again, we see it again. They don't want nothing to do. To me, FBA stands for fear of being African because they're afraid. And once again, reparations, they use it again. That's their motive. And then it's just funny to me how one moment we talk all this pro-black this, pro-black that, but then we're going to turn around and ask for some money from those that have oppressed us. We're going to ask for money. We're going to ask for wealth built on our ancestors' backs. Appreciate the gifts. We're going to ask for wealth built on our ancestors' backs with slave owners printed, their faces are printed on the dollar bills. And we want this as a form of reparations. As Africa continues to be exploited, we think we're going to build Black power on the plantation. And yeah, that's what it is, you know.
I hear you. Thank you for that explanation. I never knew that it meant American. I actually always thought that it was African. But what do you think is the solution? Because I just find like every single platform, it moved from Clubhouse to TikTok and Instagram, and everyone is just like bickering. There's actually no solutions. And I think collectively as a people, Caribbean and Africa, we are actually the stronghold. You know what I mean?
Both organizations I just mentioned take grants from the U.S. government. So they both take grants from their oppressor. So that's one thing, right? You go on both of their pages, you will find red, white, and blue all over the pages. No red, black, and green. No outlines or silhouette of African continent. None of that. You're gonna find red, white, and blue. The answer to all of this, to be honest, is for us to stop focusing on reparations and focus on building for ourselves, reconnecting to Africa. If you want to learn more, Malcolm X had an organization called the Organization of Afro-American Unity, where he outlined the objectives that we're going to need to do as a people, educating ourselves, economic empowerment, but most importantly, reestablishing a connection to the African continent. If you look on TikTok, if you look on Twitter, you're going to find a lot of Americans, you know what I'm saying? And I would just say, don't focus on them because they don't speak for African Americans. They don't speak for most of us. And I would say, there's a lot of us out here because of this internet that are able to speak with our African brothers. Are you? Where are you from?
Ethnicity.
I think you said you was Caribbean, correct?
Yeah, so my mum, she's actually Dominican, not Dominican Republic, but
Yeah, I
Dominica, the
know.
real one, and
Yeah.
Italian, and my dad is from Trinidad and Grenada.
All right. Shout
So
out to
I
Trinidad.
now say that I'm African. Before, I'm not gonna lie, honestly, because someone said it in the chat that, oh, Caribbeans do it too. I never actually used to consider myself African until I studied critical race theory and started actually like learning
That's what
real Black
happens. Yeah.
history and not history, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do definitely say that I'm African now. And yeah, but it just kind of frustrates me because race is a topic that I'm very passionate about and I'm not well read in it, but I'm still learning, you know?
Well, if you want to
And
learn more, we got a Discord for our organization,
mm,
B1initiative.org. The
okay.
link is in my bio. You can join the Discord on the website. We're
Mm,
over 700 and I think we're at 780 now, y'all. We almost at 800 Pan Africans worldwide. Think of how our ancestors would have looked at our ability to speak to people on the African continent today. Like when they touched these shores, you got to understand they thought they would never see another face of their cousin, their uncle. Their language was taken from them. Today, you can get on this phone and I could talk to someone in Uganda. I could talk to someone in Nigeria. I could talk to someone in
mm,
South Africa. And there are a lot of us coming together. But of course, the ones that the oppressor is more palatable listening to are the ones that's going to make it to the top of your For You page. The ones
mm,
that have taken on the identity of the oppressor and said, I'm American, not African. You know?
I feel you. Thank you. I
Absolutely.
don't know how to get, or I don't know how to get off the stage, but you can
I
like drop
got you.
me down.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Peace, sister. All right.
Bye.
Uh, Zazula,
Shaka.
peace. What's going on? Give us your age, race, and pronouns,
Peace.
please.
Peace. My name's Shaka. I'm 20. He, him. I'm black and I'm back, baby.
Hey. Peace, Doctor. What's going on, brother?
Peace, brother. Peace. I hope everything going right for you.
Yes,
I hope
sir.
the
You as well.
creator, I hope the creator is blessing you and your family and keeping y'all out of trouble.
Absolutely.
Our Africans and African American people the same people. Growing up, this seems like common sense. Growing up, because I always thought it was common sense growing up, even before I was woke.
It was common sense. I don't know what's going on the internet, y'all. This was common sense. We all knew Black History Month was to teach us that we was African. It taught us about, slavery, but it was common Kwanzaa. Like, this is common. I don't know where we got to this is even controversial. But here
Yeah,
we
you would think it's common sense. Because, me growing up, before I was even woke, y'all, I just seen Africa on the TV and I seen black folks. And I looked at myself like, well, I'm called an African American and that's where they went to get sprayed. So I gotta be African, right? Like, that's common sense.
No, you're right, bro. I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but it's just so funny because it's so simple, but you're right.
It's
Like,
so
what the
simple,
hell is
bro.
going on?
But on a simple note, these bootlicking, butt dancing niggas, these tap dancers who want to come out here and push an American dream, the pushing an American nightmare. I'm American. I'm Native American. I'm Anunnaki alien. I come from the stars. I come from the Milky Way. I come from the moon. I come from the ground. I come from out of Lion's Mane. I come from everywhere but Africa. Niggas want to be everything but African.
Mm-hmm.
And you wonder why. And then when you come with doing some Reddit to debunk them, guess what they say? Oh man, you living off the white man's literature. It's the white man's literature. You crazy here talking about a white man's literature, but you niggas out here talking about y'all want to be everything. I wish I would catch one of my folks talking about I'm American. I ain't African. I ain't left nothing in Africa. Like Malcolm X said, you left your mind in Africa.
I know that's right, brother. It is, yo, TikTok have me like, I don't know, y'all. It's Stockholm syndrome for real. That's really what it is. I know, like the internet will have you believing that even us African Americans are going through this big identity crisis. I ain't never met an African American in real life that didn't know we was from Africa. I mean, I have met some. I don't know. I didn't meet any pretendians, but I met some Hebrew Israelites in real life. But for the most part, we on the same page. It's just usually those that are on the same page don't go live on TikTok to try to preach it to other people. We all just kind of know what it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like people, like
I
me. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
I've met Hebrew Israelites in real life, and then like I'll be feeling what they saying, like, oh yeah, at least you pushing a black theology. Then they say, but we ain't related to Africans though. We related to the Hispanics and the Native Americans. And I'm like, what, nigga? You still close. They so now we black, but we ain't African. We the tribe of Judah. We the tribe of Judah.
Yeah,
Natives and
yeah.
Yeah, one thing I've been seeing is that there has been this extreme push for people to like talk about, oh, they E1B1A haplogroup. We are L7. Somebody said that in the comments. Like they don't. First off, y'all, I need y'all to understand haplogroups before y'all just come up with random ass things about haplogroups, because that literally made no sense. Because at the end of the day, Pharaoh Ramesses III was haplogroup E1B1A, and he was a black man,
Yeah.
and he was in Africa. He was buried in the Valley of the Kings, y'all. Like that's actually a thing.
Yeah.
And there are actual people that live in the United States right now that are black African people that are directly genetically tied to him.
To
That
him, yeah.
even multiple like black African sources as well as European sources have all corroborated. And like another thing that I keep on seeing is that these people that claim indigenous American identities, what they'll do is that they'll criticize other people for using YT sources that corroborate these things, but then at the same time, they'll also quote YT sources from like the 1700s saying, see, they classified us as this, they classified us as that. They showed us up as this, that, and the third. Like, all right, but you do also realize that they used to use like leeches to, and they used to do something called blooding, where they would literally think that you had bad blood, so they'd like cut open your arteries to get out the bad blood, which effectively would end your life. Like that, like that. They believe that too, and yet y'all still trusting their science and their knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's confusing as hell. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's my thing too is when you bring up Africa, right? Some of them appreciate the gifts, y'all. When you bring up Africa, a lot of the pretendians will tell you that the Africans sold us into slavery and that, you know, they sold us. And then they'll turn around and say we're not African. So which one is it? Are we African or did they sell us from Africa to, like, I'm confused. Like that's why I get like how you, so you was in Africa then, right? Because how, if they want, if you mad at them because they sold you, then that means you was in Africa at some point, right? Okay. All right. All right. Oh no, because you believed in Yahwism, that made you not African. That like that's what the Hebrew Israelites believe, is that uh they was in Israel and they practiced Yahwism, so they was different than the Negros, and that's what made them not African, but they was in Africa and looked like Africans, and that's
Yeah.
why they got sold. Like it's just, it don't make no sense, y'all.
There is always partial truth in the nonsense that they spew. Because I mean, there is research that shows that the original schmooze, and replace, the schmoo part with the J.
Yeah.
It does show that the original definitely did have Black African ancestry. It shows that. However, where they completely go off the handle is where they try to then still incorporate modern day Christian doctrine in with that, and then they try to claim that somehow that there was a land that existed where African Americans were separate from Africans, and that somehow it's like they take a part of the truth and then they invent an entire big ass mythical story behind it, and then they don't even hone in on that one truth at all. They really just kind of like build this grandiose ideology around it in order to try to associate themselves with something outside of Africanness, because they literally have no clue what the hell type of history and depth of history that Africa actually truly has.
Right.
And
that's it, brother, because they don't understand Africa's true history. They only understand it through the lens of looking at the Bible as a historical book. They don't understand their own history outside of the lineage of Abraham. They that because Massa gave them Abraham's book, so that's all they know. They don't know Sheikh Anta Diop, like what you had earlier. They don't know the African origin of civilization. They don't know Chancellor Williams. They don't know John Henrik Clark and Joseph Ben Yakinen and John G. Jackson, and like they don't know this. Like, yeah, like, hold on, let me put this on the big screen so y'all can look. This the book. This the most important book y'all need. This is the most important anthropological book of our time to have ever existed. A Senegalese genius. Y'all need to look at this book. If you were ever a Christian, you need to read this book. If you were ever a Christian, he takes a geopolitical approach at stories told in the Bible, a geopolitical understanding of the story of Moses, not a scriptural, spiritual understanding, a geopolitical, like it's as if you turned on the news during the time of Moses and you could see what was going on around the region politically, and understand the shaping of the story of Moses. And then he exposes the bias of Moses in his books, and talks about how he stole African spirituality and made the Ten Commandments, and made what we now call Judaism, which did not exist back then, by the way. Y'all need to look at this book. The audio book is on YouTube. Every African, every Black person needs to read this book right here. His name is Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop. He is a Senegalese professor. He was a genius. He also proved that through a test that he created to test for melanin in ancient Egyptian mummies, he was able to prove that ancient Egyptian mummies had melanin in their skin equal to the same amount of melanin in a dark-skinned African. He was able to prove that by testing the mummies himself. And then there were certain mummies they wouldn't let him test. He also proved this at the UNESCO convention in the 1970s. So he even proved this to Europeans and won. He won with his data and evidence. He won. He showed them his findings and won, and beat all the modern Egyptologists and European anthropologists of the day. This is in the 70s. He proved that Egyptians were Black. And then on top of that, he also, after he passed, another white tea woman used his experiment to study the skin of the mummies that he couldn't experiment on, and found that they also had melanin equal to that of dark-skinned Africans. So we'll keep going on, but y'all need to know about this book. Let me let the next guest speak. Amir, could you give us your age, your race, your pronouns, please?
Yeah, I'm 31. American. I want to just say African, but yeah, man. y'all pretty much said everything I was wanting to say. But I hadn't heard it yet. But yeah, there's a lot of niggas over here like they laboring real hard to disassociate themselves from Africa, and it's misleading a whole bunch of people. Like
Mm-hmm.
else, people nowadays like they just want to be everything but African. However, everything that we do is, like the DNA and the end result of the DNA, it doesn't lie. Like basically the dances, the movements, the creativity, so forth, everything just comes back full circle and it keeps going and going and going through our DNA. There's, what I'm saying, like you can verbally say you're not African all you want to, but like your habits and your way of being, your way of living, it proves that you are African. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man,
Mhm.
that's all I want to say. But also, I think it would be beneficial that I don't know. So all of these people who try to disassociate themselves from Africa, what I recognize in them, the pattern that I recognize in them is that they avoid this one particular spiritual teacher named Ra'un Nefa Amin, who teaches the Medu Neter. They all avoid him particularly. Like nobody will talk about him. They won't discuss his books. Like they'll read his books, you know, in private, but they can't really get into it because the book is about practices, like actual initiations that the ancient Egyptians practice in their time that we can still partake in today. It's a spiritual cultivation system. But yeah, for everybody who knows that they're African, because I say we should all, invest in this particular author simply because everything that he's doing is it's like completely African. It's completely African. He does utilize uh different cultures and traditions from around the world, but he utilizes them from the time period where they were African. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I said, his name is Ra'un Nefa Amin. He's the author of the Medu Neter 7-volume series, and everything that he teaches is completely practical. It's not a bunch of, just believe in what I say. Like he gives you sources.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely practical, and it's for African. It's one of the first things that I've seen in a long time that's been beneficial and that was created strictly for Africans.
I would love to know what the name of that book and the name of that brother is because you've said it a few times, but I can't imagine how to spell that. Could you please put that in the chat? DM me something, please, brother.
Yeah,
Because everything you just said is right up my alley. I would love for you to share that with me, please.
I'm gonna put it in the chat, but I'm gonna also DM it to you
Thank
just
you,
in case
brother.
it get lost.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, I do think that YouTube, like I haven't fully vetted it yet, but I do think that YouTube also has the 7-part series. Like somebody pretty much like recorded an audio of it.
Oh, it's lit.
Yeah, I don't think the full book, because
Yeah.
like each video looks like about an hour, and I'm like, hold up, if
Oh,
it's as
yeah.
big a book as we say, then you can't cover all that in an hour per video. But yeah, I think parts of that information is up there. It looks like the YouTube channel that it comes from is pretty on code, so I'm like, all right, maybe
Okay.
it's legit.
I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I'm so African that when I did a test in college to learn what type of learning style I react the most to, they said it's audible learning. I'm so African that I an audio book goes a long way with me. I can read something and, I have good reading comprehension, but when I listen to it, it sticks. Like, I can listen much better than just reading something off a page. We pass down our history and our knowledge orally, but we also wrote too. I seen somebody in another live trying to say Africans were illiterate because they passed down their history orally. That's kind of wild to even say.
Nah, cause Tahuti, the comedic neter of wisdom and intuition, he's literally standing there with a pen and paper in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And
Paper
yeah,
is African.
paper.
Papyrus.
Thank you, papyrus.
The first ever known
Hey,
languages
let me
originated
say,
in
hold on,
South.
Timothy, hold on.
Oh yeah,
Let me
sure.
say,
Go ahead, King.
papyrus is actually the Greek word
Oh, yeah.
of the word Jufi. Jufi is the original name of papyrus. It's the comedic name of it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, I sent you the thing though, but I'm gonna slide though.
All right. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for coming. All right. One love.
One peace.
Yep, and I was just going to let everybody know that, the first ever written language the first ever evidence of the written language originated tens of thousands of years ago. And they found markings on like ostrich shells that date back that far. So if y'all are wondering who to thank for simply being able to write things down in some language form, that comes from African people, y'all.
Absolutely.
Tens of thousands of years before YT skin even existed. So
yeah. Well, y'all, I'm about to step down, man. I appreciate y'all again. Thanks for making this live a success. You know me. If nothing else, Brother Legend gonna remind your ass you are African. Anybody that don't understand that this platform, my platform, BIGBROLGND on all other social media, YouTube, Twitter. Come and find me on Twitter. My Twitter be going up. I'm telling you now. But find me on Twitter. Tell me that you was on the live. I'll follow you back. But yeah, he didn't give the name of the book. If y'all want to know the name of the book, you're going to have to join the Discord, b1initiative.org. Join the Discord. As soon as you go to b1initiative.org, the link is in my bio. I'll share it to all the members of B1 Initiative. So go ahead and join us. We're a Pan-African nonprofit. My platform, and I believe Brother Timothy as well. He is also a member of B1 Initiative as well. He has his own platform. Please follow him. But my platform is dedicated to advanced level Pan-Africanism, okay? Advanced level. We're not going to argue the ideology on my platform, y'all. We're not going to argue the ideology. We're acting on it. We're not arguing it. We can argue about how we go about it. Pan-Africanism is not an identity for those that seek one, those with an identity crisis. Pan-Africanism is an objective of unifying African people worldwide. That is an objective that I've made part of my personal mission and the mission of our organization, B1 Initiative Foundation. We are building Pan-African Afrocentric resources for African people worldwide. If you want to join us, we're a technology nonprofit startup. We also are building Sankofapedia, an Afrocentric version of Wikipedia to teach the Afrocentric history of our people worldwide. If you want to join us, if you want to donate, go to b1initiative.org and donate. We are a nonprofit 501c3, all tax deductible, all donations are tax deductible. So, to help you with your taxes at the end of the year. We are Discord with over 700 and I believe we're almost at 780 members. Pan-Africans worldwide, brothers and sisters on the continent, in the Caribbean, in America, Canada, the UK. We all over the place. And we love our people. And we're building for our people. We're communicating with each other back and forth and building resources to teach the next generation and teach this generation to all those that are willing to learn. But again, advanced level Pan-Africanism, okay? Some of y'all like debating. I'm not going to debate whether America is the motherland. We already know where the motherland is. We already know where the motherland is. We're not doing that. On my lives, it's RBG. Unapologetic Garveyites. Those are the people that I need to join with me. And we are building. We are not talking the talk. My platform is not a platform to get likes and shares and make me feel all tingly. We are actually building. We're putting our money together and building resources for our community worldwide, globally. All right, y'all. I'm out. Much love. One love. Appreciate all my moderators. Teed up. I seen you in here laboring. Peace, Sister Emma, Rising Sun. I will have a nice night. I appreciate all of y'all sending gifts. And I'll be back up tomorrow. Don't forget, y'all, tomorrow in the Discord, we're having our weekly meeting. Our meeting for b1initiative.org. If you want to join us, if you are Black and you want to join us, you can. We're having our meeting. Sajess, appreciate you, Sister. Orleans, appreciate you. Our meeting is tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's 12 noon Pacific Time. We're also going to be watching, of course, a video. What video did we say we were going to watch this week, Timothy? Do you remember?
Ooh, because I watched the Dr. Cress Welsing video before that, and then, man, because you put it.
Huh? We watched Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. We was going to watch another one. Are we going back to Khalid Muhammad, or are we going to do that? Khalid Muhammad is the most interesting one to watch to me. I love hearing that brother speak. But yeah, we have our meetings and then we watch videos of the scholars give lectures, y'all. We lit. Come on through b1initiative.org. Come in the Discord. Tomorrow's gonna be a surprise. Oh, we're watching Joy DeGroy tomorrow.
Yep.
We're watching Joy DeGroy tomorrow. That's what we're doing. We're watching Dr. Joy DeGroy's lecture on post-traumatic slave syndrome. That's what we were gonna do. Y'all don't even know who Khalid Muhammad is. Oh my goodness. And you spelled it wrong. But yeah. Dr. Wesley on Black Arabia. Cyborg Skywalker, are you in the Discord? If so, if not, join us. Join us. If we having all of these deep discussions. Ain't no pretendians in there. Ain't no slavery deniers. Ain't no weird people in there. We all, okay, yeah, you in there. Okay, bet. Yeah, so talk to us. Talk to us in the Discord, the Discord is for y'all, man. The Discord is for y'all. I'm out, y'all. One love. I appreciate everybody, man. I'm wishing y'all peace. I'm wishing y'all blessings. And remember to make your ancestors proud every day. One love, Africans. Peace.